There is something you have been telling yourself for a long time. You call it love, you call it loyalty, you call it being a good person. But strip away the labels, and what you are left with is something far darker. You are sacrificing your life for people who would never do the same for you. This is the truth most people avoid. A truth Niccolò Machiavelli understood centuries ago. A truth that modern society has spent generations trying to bury under layers of sentiment and social pressure. Not everyone can be saved, and far more disturbing than that, not everyone wants to be. Some people are not looking for a way out. They are looking for someone to carry them. They are searching for an anchor, and the moment you extend your hand toward them, they will not use it to climb out. They will use it to drag you under. They will use your body as a raft, keeping themselves afloat while you sink slowly beneath the surface of their manufactured chaos. You know exactly who I am describing. You have crossed paths with them. You may even be bleeding for one right now, the friend who exists in a permanent state of emergency. The partner who hollows you out one argument at a time, but demands your endless patience. The family member who drains everything and gives nothing but resentment and contempt back. You try to fix them. You bend yourself into impossible shapes, trying to heal them. You convince yourself that if you just love them harder, sacrifice just a little more, they will eventually turn a corner. But Machiavelli would look you dead in the eyes and deliver the verdict without flinching. A man who tries to be good all the time is destined for ruin among those who are not good. Compassion without limits is not a virtue. It is a vulnerability, and there are people who will exploit it until there is nothing left of you. Today, we fix that. We are going to do something that will feel uncomfortable. We are going to perform surgery on your sense of obligation. We are going to examine 6 specific types of people you must never, under any circumstances, attempt to save. This is not a lesson in cruelty. This is a lesson in survival. This is about protecting your power so that it can be directed toward the people who actually deserve it. If you are exhausted from being the one who pours everything out and receives only pain in return, pay close attention. This may be the most important thing you hear all year, but there is a warning attached. Once you see human nature through this lens, the comfortable fog of ignorance is gone forever. Before we identify these 6 dangerous types, you need to understand the mechanics of what I call the savior trap. Why do you keep doing it? Why do you run into the burning building when the person inside is the one who lit the match? Because somewhere along the way, you were conditioned to believe that your worth is measured by your usefulness. You learned that goodness is calculated by how much pain you are willing to absorb on behalf of others. You came to believe that saying no is a form of betrayal. Machiavelli saw this as strategic suicide. In his world, and in the real world we inhabit today, energy is not infinite. Time is not renewable. Power is not unlimited. Every resource you pour into a black hole is not just wasted. It is actively funding the destruction of your own future. Think of it this way. A ship has a finite amount of space and a finite amount of supplies. If you open the deck to everyone, the sick, the destructive, the saboteurs, the unhinged, the ship does not become a sanctuary. It sinks. And when it sinks, everyone goes down with it, including the ones who were worth saving, including you. To preserve the ship, you must be strategic about who comes aboard. This is the principle of what I call therapeutic distance. Sometimes the most genuinely loving thing you can do for a person is allow them to reach the bottom, because the bottom is the only place where illusions cannot survive. The bottom is the only place where someone is finally forced to either stand up or stay down. Every time you rescue them before they get there, you steal the lesson from them. You interrupt the natural law of consequence. So who are they? Let us begin. Type 1. The architect of chaos. The first type is the most subtle and frequently the most dangerous. This is the person who is perpetually shadowed by disaster. Machiavelli warned against associating with the chronically unlucky, not out of superstition, but from careful observation. He recognized that some people are not passive victims of fate. They are the engineers of their own destruction. You recognize this person. Every time you speak with them, there is a fresh catastrophe. They lost the job, the car gave out, their partner betrayed them, the landlord turned them out. It is an unrelenting, suffocating stream of misfortune that never seems to dry up. At first, your sympathy is genuine. You step in, you lend money, offer counsel, connect them with opportunities, and for a brief stretch, things appear stable. But then the storm returns. The job you helped them secure vanishes because the manager was unfair. The money you lent disappears into yet another crisis. The opportunity you handed them was wasted because circumstances were impossible. Here is what you need to understand. The chronically unlucky are not simply unfortunate. They lack judgment, discipline, and any genuine self-awareness. They make impulsive choices, ignore every warning sign, antagonize the people around them, and move through life carelessly. But they never, not once, accept responsibility. The world is always the aggressor. Fate is always the enemy. If you attach yourself to the architect of chaos, their chaos migrates into your life. You become collateral damage. Machiavelli understood that human fortunes are intertwined. Tying your vessel to a sinking ship is a physics problem, not a moral one. The water does not care about your intentions. Let the rain fall on them. Let the cold reach them. Only the cold will convince them to build their own shelter. Every time you shield them, you delay that realization and extend your own suffering. Type 2. The bottomless pit. The second type is perhaps the most painful to navigate. This is the person who demands your help, absorbs your help, and then resents you for it. Machiavelli wrote at length about the unstable nature of gratitude. He observed that people shift allegiances the moment their interests shift. The person suffering from entitlement does not see your generosity as a gift. They experience it as a debt you already owed them. Watch the pattern closely. The first time you help, the gratitude is overwhelming. The second time, it comes with less warmth. By the third time, they no longer ask. They expect. And if you hesitate for even a moment, you are met with irritation, passive aggression, and veiled accusations. The implication is always the same. A real friend would not need to be asked twice. This is the bottomless pit. Nothing you give will satisfy them, because the emptiness inside them is not a shortage of resources. It is a deficit of character. There is also a darker dynamic at work. When you consistently provide for someone, they begin to resent you for it. Dependence quietly breeds contempt. Your strength becomes a reminder of their weakness. Your generosity highlights their inability to generate their own, so they accept what you offer and quietly build a case against you. The test is simple. Say no to one small request. The response will tell you everything you need to know about who you are dealing with. A grounded person will respect a boundary. The bottomless pit will react with anger, emotional manipulation, or a sudden cold withdrawal. If you witness that reaction, you have your answer. Leave. Type 3. The smiling saboteur. Now we move into darker territory. The first two types drain you through incompetence or entitlement. This third type drains you through something far more calculated: malice. Machiavelli knew that envy is the most corrosive force in any court, any organization, any circle of supposed friends. The smiling saboteur is often the person closest to you, the friend from the beginning, the colleague who started at the same level, but then you grew, you improved, you succeeded, and they did not. They cannot tolerate it, but they are clever. They do not come at you openly. Visible enemies are manageable. You can anticipate a direct attack. The smiling saboteur conceals their hostility behind warmth and manufactured concern. Listen to how they respond when you share good news. Notice the pattern, the slight hesitation, the almost compliment followed by a worry. "Oh, that is great, but are you sure you can handle the pressure? I just do not want to see you burn out. I'm only saying this because I care about you." That is not concern. That is envy wearing the costume of loyalty. The goal is to plant seeds of doubt in fertile soil, to quietly erode your confidence until you retreat back to their level. If you try to bring this person with you, to raise them up as you rise, they will sabotage the journey, not always consciously. Sometimes the destruction is instinctual. Drama will emerge before important moments. Confidences will be betrayed. Bad advice will be given at critical junctures. The strategy here is concealment. Around the smiling saboteur, reveal nothing of significance. Keep your victories private. Keep your plans guarded. Give them the performance of mediocrity. Feed them the narrative of struggle they need to feel comfortable. And save the truth of your progress for those who genuinely want to see you succeed. If this content is landing for you, if you are recognizing faces and patterns you have been too afraid to name out loud, take a second and hit the like button. And if you are not subscribed yet, now is the time. There is far more of this kind of truth coming, and you do not want to miss it. Take a breath. I know this is weighing on you. Names are surfacing, faces are appearing, and alongside them, that familiar voice, the one that says, "But they need me." But this time is different. But I can be the one who changes them. Silence that voice. It is not your conscience speaking. It is your ego, the part of you that believes it is powerful enough to rewrite another person's fundamental nature. You are not. You are a human being with a finite amount of energy. If you keep feeding that energy into machines designed to consume it, you will erode, spiritually first, then mentally, and eventually physically. Stress is not abstract. Betrayal is not metaphorical. They have physical consequences. We have 3 more types to examine, and these final 3 are the ones that strike at your deepest vulnerabilities. These are the ones that leave the marks that take the longest to heal. Type 4. The professional victim. We arrive now at one of the most deceptive figures in the landscape of human psychology. This type does not approach with arrogance or demand. They approach on their knees. Machiavelli understood that power takes 2 primary forms, fear and sympathy. The powerful use fear. The strategic use sympathy. And sympathy is uniquely dangerous because it bypasses logic entirely and injects directly into your emotional center, making rational evaluation nearly impossible. There is a critical distinction to understand here. There are genuine victims of circumstance, people who have been crushed by forces beyond their control and are fighting to recover. And then there are professional victims, people who have built an entire identity around their suffering. A genuine victim wants to escape their pain. A professional victim wants to cultivate it. They tend it carefully. They wear their trauma as a crown and expect the world to kneel before it. Their pain has become a tool, deployed strategically to extract attention, resources, and exemptions from accountability. I cannot try because of what happened to me. You are causing me harm by expecting me to take responsibility. The world was not built for someone as fragile as I am. If you attempt to save this person, you enter a game constructed specifically so that you cannot win. To actually help them would require removing the very identity they have built around their helplessness. They will resist every solution you offer. The ladder is too high. The rope is too rough. When you try to lift them, they go completely limp. And when you finally exhaust yourself and step back, when you say honestly that you cannot carry them any further, the transformation is immediate. The wounded lamb becomes something far more aggressive. They will turn on you. They will rewrite the history of your relationship. Your exhaustion becomes abandonment. Your limits become evidence of your cruelty. They need a villain to anchor their narrative. And by trying to be their rescuer, you have already auditioned for that role. Do not accept it. Walk away. Type 5. The arrogant fool. Type 5 is the enemy of growth, the enemy of wisdom, and if you are not careful, the enemy of your own sanity. The arrogant fool. This is not simply a matter of low intelligence. Ignorance can be addressed with knowledge. This is something far more stubborn. This is someone who is actively, deliberately, in love with their own conclusions, even as those conclusions drive their life into the ground. Machiavelli was direct about this. A ruler who lacks wisdom cannot be guided toward wisdom. You cannot teach a person who has already decided they know everything. You watch this person make the same mistakes in rotation. Wrong relationships, wrong investments, wrong enemies. You can see the cliff they are walking toward with perfect clarity. You run to them. You lay out the evidence. You show them the map. And they argue with the map. They do not want truth. They want an audience for their opinions. When you offer truth, they interpret it as an assault on their identity. By trying to save them from the consequences of their own thinking, you transform yourself in their mind into an adversary. They will call you arrogant. They will drag you into circular, exhausting debates that solve nothing and cost you everything. And when the fall finally comes, and it always comes, they will not learn from it. They will assign blame to the circumstances, to other people, possibly to you for distracting them. Machiavelli's counsel here is silence. Let reality deliver the lesson. Reality does not negotiate. It does not debate. It simply administers consequences, on schedule, without exceptions. Step back. Observe from a distance. Reserve your wisdom for those rare individuals who have the humility to say, "I do not know. Teach me." Type 6. The Scorpion. You know the old fable. A scorpion asks a frog to carry it across a river. The frog hesitates. "If I carry you, you will sting me, and I will die." The scorpion reasons, "If I sting you, we both drown." What sense would that make? The frog accepts the logic. Halfway across, the scorpion stings. As they both sink, the frog asks the only question that matters. Why? The scorpion answers simply, "It is my nature." There are people whose nature is to betray, whose nature is to destroy, not because of a bad day or a difficult season, because of who they fundamentally are. This is the person you have forgiven more times than you can count. They betray your trust. You forgive. They take from you. You forgive. They lie to your face with complete composure. You forgive again. Because they cry, because they promise this was the last time, because they invoke God, therapy, change, transformation. And you want to believe in transformation. You want to be the person whose love was powerful enough to rewrite someone's character. But Machiavelli understood something foundational. Behavior is a pattern. Character is a pattern. The most accurate forecast of what a person will do tomorrow is what they have already done repeatedly. Every time you absorb the consequences of their betrayal on their behalf, you are not demonstrating love. You are removing the only feedback mechanism capable of reaching them. You are teaching them that the sting has no cost. And they lose respect for you in the process, not because they are calculating, but because some part of them registers that you do not protect yourself. How can they respect someone who treats themselves as dispensable? If you are dealing with a repeater, the only option is the full and complete severance, not distance, not a reduced relationship, removal. It will feel like amputating something that was once part of you, but the alternative is allowing the poison to reach your core. The scorpion cannot be rehabilitated. It can only be avoided. Believe people when they show you who they are. Stop placing your conscience inside a predator and expecting it to change their behavior. Now you see them clearly. The 6 faces, the architect of chaos, the bottomless pit, the smiling saboteur, the professional victim, the arrogant fool, the scorpion. You are recognizing them in your phone, at your table, in your memories. And along with that recognition comes weight. Because following this path means making choices that others will judge. You will be called selfish. You will be called cold. You will be called Machiavellian. Good. Wear those labels. Because what they call selfishness, the perceptive call self-preservation. What they call coldness, the clear-eyed call clarity. The shift you must make is from savior to sovereign. The savior throws himself into the fire and burns until nothing remains. The sovereign builds a lighthouse. He does not leap into the waves for those who refuse to swim. He stands, he shines, and those who genuinely want to reach the shore will find their way. Those who want to sink will sink. But the lighthouse endures. This is the core truth. You are not responsible for the souls of other people. You are responsible for the vessel that carries your own. When you stop exhausting yourself on the unsavable, something unexpected happens. Your energy returns. Your time expands. The anxiety that has been sitting on your chest begins to lift. Your resources stop hemorrhaging. And in that recovered space, you find the capacity to genuinely help the people who actually deserve it. The ones who act on your advice. The ones who grow when you invest in them. The ones who return loyalty with loyalty. That is real power. Not the endurance of suffering. The wisdom to choose who is worthy of your attention. Machiavelli wrote that everyone sees what you appear to be, but almost no one knows what you truly are. Let the surface remain calm and unreadable. Let others interpret it however they choose. But in the interior, know that you have mastered one of the hardest disciplines available to a human being, the art of letting go. One final thought before you close this. As you remove these people and reclaim your energy, you will eventually be left in a quiet room with only your own reflection. And it is possible, in that silence, that you will recognize something unsettling, that the people you kept trying to save were never entirely separate from you, that some of what you were trying to fix in them was a projection of something unresolved in yourself. That is not a conclusion, that is a door. And what lies beyond it is a conversation for another time.